Guess what? I'm back. This time it didn't take me 4 months to get myself on this stage. I mean, how many of you were here last month for my icebreaker? Hey, that's a lot. Did you enjoy it?
Yes.
I was absolutely astounded by the feedback I received. So many kind and encouraging words like, ha, so nice. Although, I have to say there was that one feedback note that kind of sent the chills down my spine. Do you want to know what it said?
Yep.
Brace yourselves, I'm quoting. It said, amazing job, great speech. Can't wait to see how the second one goes. I mean, what? Like, you don't get it? You're not hearing it? I mean, that person obviously knew. They knew that the whole icebreaker, that was a fluke. I mean, I barely made through it. I did actually black out for half of it. Thank God there was a recording because, I mean... And here I am again, doing it. Once more, trying to get it done properly. And I keep on thinking, this is not a good idea. I'm going to stutter, I'm going to black out again. I'm going to be nervous, I'm going to forget the whole thing. Like the speech I gave, that was nothing like the speech I wrote for my icebreaker. And I'm going to come here, and I'm going to stutter, and I'm going to panic. And they're going to know. They're going to know I'm no public speaker. You're going to know. Do you get it now? While this reaction may be a little bit exaggerated, or it may have happened today, maybe in the day, it is in fact a great illustration of the false spiral that happens to a person that is experiencing what we know as the imposter syndrome. The overwhelming feeling of being in the wrong place, not being good enough, not working in the right way. I think you're all familiar with the concept, or you at least have heard about imposter syndrome, but what is it exactly? The research has been conducted since the 70s, and it is widely written on both social media, LinkedIn's, in journals, in newspapers, and there are many approaches to it. I like to focus on 4. I choose to speak about the imposter syndrome because, in case you haven't figured, I kind of suffer. And also in my professional job, I see it literally every day. For those who do not know, I'm an artist in the industrial aspect, commercial artist. I make video games. Every day, I see enormously talented people who keep bashing themselves over not being good enough, not being able to do that, not being in the right place, not willing to speak, because they are so afraid of being identified as the imposter, as the fraud. The 4 P's that I usually bring onto the table when talking to my team are the perfectionism, the people-pleasing, the paralysis, and procrastination. The perfectionism, that's pretty self-explanatory. We do it to ourselves regularly, right? We get those incredibly difficult high standards. We put those amazing goals into our view, and there is no way for us to achieve that. And the more we do it, the more disappointed we are with ourselves. And in the worst case scenario, we develop this Superman or Superwoman syndrome where, I'm sorry, you don't get a cool cape. You just do everything you can to excel at every aspect of your life. It goes without saying that the only thing you're going to get from this approach is burnout. When it comes to paralysis, the paralysis is something that also happens a lot. It's when a person believes deep inside that there is a certain level of knowledge or skill at which they will feel good enough. They keep reading and learning and training and doing courses and getting certificates in hope that I will finally feel good enough to apply for that dream job, to go for that project, to launch their own business. Well, spoiler alert, that never happens. What is worse, as the time goes, you keep feeling more and more anxious. does also lean into the people pleasing, because as we want to please the people, we just don't want to talk. We kind of believe, I'm not good enough for this game, I'm going to let them speak. And you also think that if you take a stand, if you speak up, the limelight is coming, everyone's going to look at you, and they're going to see that you're not good enough. That, of course, leads to procrastination. Yeah? What was it? 4 months for my icebreaker? Because I can do it later, I can do it later, I can prepare better, there's time. But as the time passes, you just keep feeling not good enough. And you begin the ultimate torture. If I were real. If I were a real artist, I wouldn't struggle to get a job. If I were a real public speaker, I wouldn't be panicking right now. If I were a real mother, I would know how to calm my kid. If I were a real whatever, it wouldn't feel like that. Well, it is what it is. We all face those emotions, and that's the thing that we all need to embrace. We need to talk about it, not because there is an easy fixed solution to those feelings, but because we need to understand that absolutely everyone is prone to those emotions. By admitting to those thoughts of self-doubt or inadequacy, we actually move away the isolation. We empower. We empower not only ourselves, but we empower our colleagues. The ones who may not wish to speak until they believe that they are not the only ones. If that happens, we all lose. So I encourage you to self-reflect a little bit. I encourage you to open up to your colleagues about your struggles at work or in public speaking. And with all that, I do believe that in the end, we're all going to know that we are capable, that we are talented, and that we belong.